Hello everyone. I welcome you all to ManageEngine Applications Manager free training series. So this is season 2 of 2026. We are in part 1 where we will discuss application-centric infrastructure monitoring. So let's discuss today's agenda. So we will first take a look at how you can perform auto discover and dependency mapping for your entire application infrastructure. And then we'll move on to measuring your key performance metrics of your application infrastructure. And third, we will discuss on how you can utilize the machine learning and AI to detect anomalies, analyze performance trends, and also plan capacity for your resources. And finally, we'll conclude today's training with the help of, with the view of how App Manager can integrate with different applications. Let's get started with the first topic, auto discover components and dependencies of your entire application stack. Let's consider a problem scenario where we have our IT administrator, Jim, who is responsible for managing and monitoring an entire infrastructure. So this is a complex network where you can have, where he has uh, on-prem applications, cloud applications, container platforms, databases, web-based applications, URLs, middleware technologies, and so on. So it's a complex network where if you don't have a complete view, it will cause major issues. And we'll take a look at what are some of the major challenges for IT administrators. So lack of visibility into your infrastructure could lead into undocumented applications, leading to a potential security risk. And when you don't have a proper visibility, finding what the issue is with certain applications or resources, or even to resolve it, will take a lot of manual work, which will increase the MTTR, mean time to resolve your issues, and also insufficient allocation. So if you don't have a proper documentation, you're not keeping track of what are the resource allocated, that could result in cost overrun. So how could Applications Manager help you in this scenario? We have a feature, auto discovery and dependency mapping. So with the help of this, you can perform a network sweep for your entire infrastructure with the help of network discovery. And this will help you to show how your applications and service interconnect with each other and communicate. And also with the help of a view, it will show you and you can understand how the operational issues to the instance level and the host level. And the discovery is of three types: the inventory automation, bulk discovery, network discovery, and virtual infrastructure discovery. And now, after performing a discovery, there is a dependency map that Applications Manager generates. With this business view, you can actually view how the server to server mapping happens, the server to application mapping happens. If an application running on one server, if it's talking to an application or a database on another server, that level of dependency mapping can be tracked with the help of dependency map, which will give you a full view of live status of operational devices. And it will also help you identify any devices that are not responsive, or if it's down faster. And if you hover your mouse on top of any of these devices that's critical, you will get a small pop-up window with the root cause of what's wrong with that particular application or resource, and it's easier for troubleshooting. So let's take a quick look at the console on how we can get started with the application discovery part. This is the homepage of Applications Manager. After the installation, once you log in, you will get the default dashboard with different options, widgets. We'll discuss them later. So to get started, we need to go to Settings, Add or Discover. On the left side, you can see Add New Monitor that shows the category of different technologies that you can onboard for monitoring, like application servers, your cloud applications, databases, mail servers, middleware portal, services, web server and services, including your virtual infrastructure. So say if I want to onboard any particular application, like a Tomcat application, I just select that application name and it's going to give me the options to onboard it. And on the right side, you can see the help card. So this help card will be available for all the monitors that will show you exact information what you need to enter here in order to onboard the Tomcat application. And not just that, it will also give you the prerequisites where you have to perform certain steps in order for the monitoring to happen. Say what sort of permissions has to be given for the user account that is used for monitoring, what ports needs to be opened. So all those information will be available in the help card, and also you will have a direct link to navigate to the help page to get this information. So once you have all the information entered, you just need to like test a credential and add monitor that will get started with the monitoring of the respective Tomcat application. So this is like one application I can onboard easily. Say I have like multiple applications or servers that I want to onboard, I can still do it, but say like 50 or hundreds of applications or servers will take a lot of manual work. So in those scenarios, we have the bulk import of monitors where you can select from this page, or you can also go to bulk import here that will give you the monitor type. And this supports various monitor types for bulk import option. So let's consider servers. And as soon as I choose the type of monitor that I want to onboard for bulk import, the help card changes and it's giving me the details that I need to enter for the bulk import. So this basically works with the help of a CSV file. So you need to prepare a sheet, list all the applications or the servers that you want to onboard with the required information mentioned in the header of this sheet. So you will also get a sample file. You can download it here and add the details and go ahead and upload it here. So once you have entered all the required information, choose file, and that will allow me to choose a specific CSV where I have entered all the details. Go next. And this will summarize the details of the, the application and servers I have entered in the sheet, where you can get an overview and start discovery. So this will perform a discovery for all the list of applications. It will try to authenticate, try to connect. And if it results in any errors, you will also get a page of summary with any successful discovery, or if there is any failure, that results will be listed on the same page. And the next discovery that we are going to take is the network discovery. So go to discovery tab and then add new discovery. This discovery is based on a range of IP address where you need to give a start and an end range. Within this range, the network sweep will be performed. I'm going to give a range of IP address here. And go next. And now it will give me an option to choose the servers and applications that I want to discover within the given range. So since this applications manager is installed on a Linux-based operating system, I'm not able to see a WMI-based server, but if it's installed on a Windows server, you can also get a WMI protocol here. So it will list all the applications that is supported for the network discovery. And if you don't have any specific application on your infrastructure, you can simply uncheck that, and that will not perform the discovery. And all the port numbers mentioned here are the default port numbers for the respective application. Say if you're not running them on a default port numbers, I can customize the port number here. And if I'm running same Tomcat server on different servers or different IP range on different port numbers, I can mention those port numbers here. I can give a different port number, and that will perform the sweep on the mentioned port numbers and for the selected applications. So once this is sorted, go next. And now it will ask me for the select credentials option. So App Manager is not only going to perform a discovery, it will try to authenticate itself to to connect to the target application and also fetch the information for onboarding. So for the selected applications in the previous step, you need to select the credential. And if you don't have a credential already added, we have given an option to add credential. You can give the list of credential here and proceed next. Once this option is selected, the final stage of the discovery is the scheduling part. So whether you want to perform a one-time discovery, you can keep it disabled and perform a discover, or say you have given a range of IP address and you have plans to onboard multiple applications in the future, then you can schedule it for a weekly or a monthly discovery where the same IP range will be swept for the application selected in the discovery. And the second option is scan discovery, where you have scan, scan, and add. So the major difference here is when you perform scan, it's just going to perform a scan and give you the list of discovered applications and servers. So when you do scan and add, it's going to onboard all the application and servers that are successfully discovered. So once this process is complete, you will have a list of application and servers that are onboarded by default for you. So with this way, you can get a complete view of your network infrastructure with the application infrastructure added to the Applications Manager. All right, so let's move on to the second topic of the day, measure key performance metrics across your application infrastructure. Let's consider another problem scenario. So most of the IT infrastructure is looking to have a single view where you can get cross-domain insights, contextual correlation, and also instant troubleshooting. One view where I can get all my application infrastructure viewed, the performance statistics, the availability statistics, and so on. However, in reality, most of the enterprise are not configured this way. So we have our own teams using their own applications or tools or monitoring solutions to get the feedback of their own devices. So say network operations or like DevOps will have different tools. So when you run into an issue for an application, and you try to get to the application support, the immediate response from the support might be, this is not my issue, go to the database team. And when you go to the database, they are going to point the finger to a network team. This could be a storage issue or a network issue. And this happens in most of the IT infrastructure when you don't have a proper monitoring solution where you can get one consolidated view for your entire application stack. So what are some of the key issues that you can address? So with the application level, you need to make sure that application slowness and unhandled exceptions are being monitored. At the operating system level, poor provisioning of a server and virtual resources could impact the server itself. At the network level, we need to make sure that the network utilization is optimized and also there's less error rates. And at the hardware level, we need to make sure that the device itself is available for accessible and there are less hardware related errors. So what are some of the key performance metrics to focus on in terms of applications? So at the application level, the availability itself is one of the key performance metric, that is key availability metric. And these five major metrics that we are taking a look at, the response time, connection details, the heap usage, the number of threads, and the request throughput. Say if we focus on these five metrics, we can confirm that the application is up and running and it has a smooth accessible for the end users. So these are some, it is not just limited to these metrics, but there are like multiple parameters to monitor for each and every application. So we'll take a look at them shortly. And at the database level, query performance is one of the key metrics. So one single query running for a longer time could bring down the entire database. The number of connections to the database, you need to manage it, because say if one login is taking a lot of connections, then it's going to prevent any further logins to the database itself. The backup, we need to make sure that it is running properly. If we run into an issue and if we look back and there are no backups, and that's it. Jobs that enable the backups to run properly, we need to monitor that the jobs are running properly and it is actually succeeded. And at the log statistics, we look out for the log wait times and identify which transactions are being blocked. The server level, the key parameters to focus is the availability of the server itself and also the system level performance metrics. And three primary metrics at the servers are the CPU utilization, memory, as well as the disk utilization. So we'll take a look at them shortly. And at the servers, we have also introduced agent-based monitoring. So you can simply deploy an agent on the server and get the details where you don't want to remotely connect to it. So the options to support the agent, currently we are supporting Windows and Linux operating systems, and you can deploy it from settings, FSO agent, and deploy agent. So when you need to choose between agent and agentless monitor, so choose the agent based when you cannot enable protocols like SNMP, SSH, or WMI. And if you cannot share the credentials of that server, and if any specific ports cannot be opened, it could be on a DMZ zone, or it could be like a production server where you cannot share the details. You simply deploy an agent on that server, and that's going to fetch the details for you. You can go with agentless when you don't want any third-party applications installed on your servers, and when you want to support multiple OS flavors other than Windows and Linux-based operating systems. And this is one of the latest addition to Applications Manager. This is a new feature, VM Enterprise Manager. So the key benefits of this is to identify slow backups jobs within VM environment to optimize the performance, and also receive instant alerts when a job is failing, and also if there is a job failed with warnings. So all these metrics are being tracked. So we'll take a look at that shortly now. This is demo.appmanager.com. This is a site accessible globally where you can view all the monitors of the supported type added. So you can also access it on your machine, demo.appmanager.com. And it shows you like the 150 plus technologies that is supported out of the box. So let's take a Tomcat server to see what are the metrics that are being onboarded here. So as soon as we saw on the first topic, how you can onboard applications. Once the applications are onboarded, when you access them, this is how it looks, and where you can get the availability of the application itself, the server snapshot, and you can see the response time, the server performance information, thread related details, and also response summary. And this gives us how many 500 or like 400 responses are received, and what are the successful requests for the application. And the memory is one of the key important metrics for the application to keep track of heap memory and also the non-heap memory details, where you can get multiple attributes under the memory usage and also the garbage collector information. So the web applications under the Tomcat is going to show you the application summary, the status of that respective application, and the metrics like what are the successful requests and failed requests for the specific application. And if there are number of open sessions, if there are expired sessions and rejected sessions. And not limited to this, you can configure alarms for all these metrics and also enable reports so that if you want to have any future references, you can go back to the reports and view them, how it works and what was the utilization at a particular given point of time. Applications Manager is one of the strongest tool in the market to monitor your databases. So you can see that it supports out of the box like 20 plus database types. So let's take a Microsoft SQL database. Excuse me. As soon as the Microsoft SQL is onboarded, I've taken a cluster so we can also see the cluster information here. So if this SQL is part of a cluster, we can get those details. The overview tab will show the availability of the database server, and you can get the information of CPU and memory usage, buffer manager, doc details, and the latch information. So this is also going to keep track of deadlocks per minute happening at the database. The database tab itself is going to show me the list of databases running on that server and the status of that. So I can just hover my mouse on top of it. I can see that's currently online active. And this page is going to give me the file usage, data file, and the log file of the respective database. Not limited to this, if I drill down into that particular database, it's going to give me more information on specific to that database, like table relationship, user tables, fragmentation details, and so on, including the DBCC check information and also database connection properties, session details. So what are the session information on that specific database? The overall session will also be tracked here at the server level, where you can get the information of connection statistics. It will keep track of the number of blocked sessions on that server, database connection details. So this shows the login name, and that login, how many connection is taking. So you can configure alarms for it so that in case if it exceeds certain amount of database connections, you can get notified. And along with that, the session details is going to give us the active sessions, suspended, sleeping information. And it also shows you session log and the blocked sessions on that SQL server. Jobs is one of the important parameter in the SQL database where we need to keep track of if the jobs are running properly. And out of the box, App Manager configures an alarm for the last run status of that specific job. So you can see that few of the jobs are already in failed status and the respective health of that job is impacted, which means that it's already sending an alarm out of the box. And there is an option to automate to re-trigger the job that is failed. So we'll take a look at that back in the next topics. And the cluster details will show us the information on the cluster that it is joined to, the node details, the storage information, resource groups, and the resource group status, whether if it's online or failed offline, the current node, and also the preferred node information. The always on availability groups will be showing us the primary replica details. So if I go into any specific availability group, that's going to give me more information on role, the availability mode, failover mode, connection status. And I can dive deep into that availability replica, and that's going to show me the database status information, performance statistics of that specific availability replica. And one major aspect of database monitoring is the performance. So the query performance optimization, where you can keep track of these supported query optimization. So we can keep track of slow running queries, queries that consume lots CPU, most blocked queries, and most frequently executed queries. So you can know what are the queries that are like slow running on what particular database and how many last execution time. And we have also given an option to like export this page as a PDF or an Excel. So you can get it directly out of this application and share it with your database team for a faster resolution. And you can configure alarms for these metrics to get notified if any specific application or like a last execution time is exceeded for a given stop slow running queries or most blocked queries. Take a look at what Server Monitor has to offer. So I'm going with the Windows Server here, and we are going to see the overall availability, the statistics, and the response time of the server, the total uptime, and the server time, and also the time difference, and the primary metrics, the CPU utilization, memory utilization, and the disk utilization. You can also keep track of the processes and the services running on that server. So you can add new processes for monitoring. You can handle you can keep track of the CPU usage, memory usage of that specific process, and the availability itself. Similarly, for the services, you can keep track of if the service is up and running or if there is any issue with the service itself. And there are automation where you can restart the service as well. We'll take a look at that in the upcoming topics. In the further tabs, the CPU is going to show us the split of CPU information, the split CPU cores, the individual core level utilizations. Similarly, for the disk, it's going to give us the individual volumes present in that server along with the disk IO statistics. The network tab will give us the network interface information where you can keep track of the input and output traffic and if there is any error rate along with the network adapter information. In the if you have configured event log for the service, like you can keep track of the errors or warnings happening in the event viewer, and that can be mapped to a specific server where you can list all the events happening like major events. You can also configure it based on the event ID. And if you have any scheduled tasks, you can keep track of that here directly, and the status of the scheduled tasks, whether if it's successful or not, can also be tracked and alarm can be generated. Print queue will show actually what if there are any pending queues at the server. The applications will show us if any application running on this system is added as an application monitor in the solution. So that will also be tracked here. In order to see the agent part, go to settings, FSO agent, and you will have an option to deploy the agent. So we have given options here for Windows and Linux. So if I choose any specific OS flavor, it's going to give me the instructions on how you can deploy the agent. And it's going to give the download option, run the installer. And when you run the installer, what details has to be entered will also be given here on this page. So you just need to run the installer, enter the details, and that's going to start monitoring the specific server. And once that is done, it will be listed here under the view agents, where you can see what are the active agents, what is the status of that specific host where the agent is running. And it will also be added under the monitors tab, where you can keep track of the other performance metrics. Let's take a quick look at the VM Enterprise solution. VM Enterprise Manager, again, it's going to give us the health and the overall availability of the server itself. And you can keep track of the job run summary, top 5 job, that is backup servers by failures, and top 10 slowest backup jobs. You can see the list of jobs that's taking a longer time and the duration to complete. And the backup servers will show us the list of backup servers and number of jobs scheduled on those individual servers, and what are the job status per server, like successful jobs or like jobs with warnings and failed jobs. The backup jobs is going to give us the job execution information, the job name, the status of that specific job, how long did it take to run it, the last run time, and also the next run time. And if the last run resulted in any errors, we are also going to see the error information. And the backup job details is going to show us like where the job is present, what is the type of job, and what is the retention period of that specific job. So with this way, you can monitor your backup server with the help of VM Enterprise Manager, right? So let's move on to third topic for the day. And before we move, and I would like to, you will get a poll on your screen. And if you are looking to get a complete demo of your applications manager, please, if you're interested, please select the polling options, and our team will get back to you and schedule a complete demo. Right? Thank you for the feedback. And let's move on to the third topic for the day. Leverage AI and ML to detect anomalies. So automating critical actions. So we saw how you can back up in the Microsoft SQL Server and the jobs running on that. And let's consider a backup job, and where you have a requirement, you have to take backups every 12 hours. And if there is no backup, you need to trigger an alarm. So with the help of automating critical actions, if there is no backup on the server, you're going to trigger an alarm. And this alarm is going to execute a SQL job action. And this action is going to re-trigger the job that was configured and that was failed. So this action is automated whenever a backup age exceeds a set time that is based on a threshold. And this is one-time configuration. And once this is done, every time a job is exceeding a backup age, it's going to automatically trigger it and re-trigger the job action. And it's also going to send you a notification whether if the job action was successful or if it was a failure. So with the help of automating critical actions, you don't have to like manually go ahead and check what jobs are failing and do I have to rerun it. So this is not limited to just SQL jobs. There are like multiple actions. We'll take a look at them. In Applications Manager, we have adaptive thresholds. So which provides two major components of configuring the alarms: standard threshold and adaptive threshold. Standard is more of a traditional way where you can configure string based as well as numeric based thresholds. You can make use of severities like critical, warning, and clear. And that is traditional way of configuring like a failed job or like a percentage or a utilization metric. And in adaptive, we have two different categories, automatic and manual. So we'll take a look at them shortly. With the help of reports in Applications Manager, there are over 100 plus performance reports supported out of the box. And for all the metrics that we discussed in the application database or at the server, you can get the reports directly. After you enable the reports, you can also archive the reports. You can get it scheduled, and all performance reports are applicable for all the monitors. And along with that, there are few major important reporting options available, like capacity planning and forecast reports. So with the help of capacity planning, you can view what resources are like undersized or oversized. And with the forecast, you can use the machine learning powered analysis based on the historical growth, and it's going to predict how the forecasting of a specific utilization, like for a disk or for like a data file of a SQL server. And there are a few other reports type, like you can get the health and availability of a server or applications that are monitored. And the downtime summary report, you can enable it so you can get a weekly or a monthly downtime report for the monitored applications. The trend analysis is going to give you a full view of specific monitor and its primary metrics. And few other report types are attribute based. It is for specific attribute alone, where the history report is going to give me from one time, like a time duration, that the response time of a Windows was so and so, and I can keep track of the history reports for the last 7 days. And the hour of the day report will also show me what happened at the particular day and what was the utilization. The inventory report is going to give you just a full view of all the applications onboarded in your applications manager. One other feature every solution needs is the dashboards and widgets. So dashboards are great insights into what you're monitoring inside your application. So you don't have to go to individual application or like a server or a cloud application to get the statistics. The dashboard will give you more widgets where you can add metrics to it: availability details, the performance details, the alarm statistics, the heat map information. And with the help of multiple widgets, smart widgets, you can build a dashboard for specific needs for production applications or for top tier applications and critical applications. And there are multiple performance and smart widgets available, like server uptime, utility widgets, alarm summary widgets, business view, and so on. And one other feature that we have recently introduced is AI summary for alarms. So Applications Manager integrates with OpenAI ChatGPT to help operations team analyze faster and make informed decisions with minimal effort. So this is going to view the alarms after the integration is done. This is going to view the alarms that is generated. Like say we on this page, we have 6 critical alarms, and this is going to summarize, consolidate all the alarms and give you information on what is the root cause and what you can do and what is the remediation part of it. And as of now, Application Manager supports at multiple levels, like consolidated alarms for all the alarms generated, for any specific alarms or for specific monitor groups, or any individual monitor alarms as well. Let's go to the console and take a look at these options. In order to configure a threshold, you have an option here, threshold profile. Go to new threshold. So the first option given here is a standard threshold, where you can see numeric value and string values. So when I choose string value, I'll be given options to configure based on contains a value that I can configure for critical, warning, and clear severity. Say for SQL failed jobs, if the result matches failed or like errors, then I need a critical alarm. So in this case, will alert critical severity for when it's matching the failed and error attributes. And similarly for warning, and when you want to clear it, say if I say success or like a succeeded, then it's going to clear the alarm. Once the thresholds are created, you can associate it with the respective attributes to get the alarms configured. And for the numeric values, it's going to be for like percentage values or like seconds, minutes, or like milliseconds monitoring. For servers like CPU utilization, I can keep track of if there is a 90 or over utilization, it's going to be a critical. And I can keep track of the warning, like say if there is 75 and above utilization, it's going to be warning. And for clear, if there is anything less than or equal to 75, it is a clear alarm. So this way you can configure thresholds and associate it for the required attributes where it will be monitored. The adaptive profile is of two types, automatic and manual. So manual option is going to be comparing with the baseline values of a selected date range. So I can select the date range. I want to compare the current data to the archived information. Say I want to compare the fixed baseline value as week 1 of April. When the data collection happens for a specific attribute, and this is going to compare the current data with the hardly archived data of the week 1 of April. And I have to give the deviation percentage here. Say if the deviation from the current value to the archived value is like 50%, then it's going to trigger an alarm. So the deviation can be upper limit as well as lower limit. So if the deviation is above or low, it's going to keep track of both. So this will be really useful in terms of like Microsoft messaging queues where you can expect a specific amount of queue, where if the queue flow is like low or higher, based on the adaptive profiles, you can get the alarms. And the automatic is going to use the machine learning and the RPCA algorithm. And it's going to need at least 7 data points before it starts working. So it's going to compare the value with the previous value and alert based on the deviation percentage given here. And you can configure the same options like severity, critical, warning, and clear based on the deviation percentage. The actions here is the automation of critical alarms that we discussed. So the SQL job action is what is going to start a job, restart, or stop a job. So you can add the jobs here by selecting the option and what are the target servers that you need to associate. So it's not just with the SQL job, you have options to send emails, send SMS, execute a program. Say there is an alarm triggered and I want to execute a script to rectify the alarm, you can make use of the execute program. I can log a ticket. I can log a ticket to service desk or like a service now, and I can choose virtual machine action. So I can start, stop, or restart a specific virtual machine based on the utilization alarms of it. And there are multiple actions where you can send a webhook or a Slack action and container action, virtual machine action. So all these actions are automated where you don't have to go back and see or do any manual work. So it's just like one-time configuration after you have onboarded the applications. Under reports, this supports reports at multiple levels for all the onboarded categories. So you can see on the left side, monitor groups. So if you have created monitor groups for different requirements, you can generate reports for different groups that you have created. And these are all the category of applications that we saw on the monitors tab: servers, applications, databases, and so on. And say for the databases, I can still get down to the individual type of the database. I can choose a specific database and generate a alarm for it. I mean, the reports for it. So the at a glance report of database is going to give me the trend analysis. It's going to show me the overall view of the database, and the duration that the report was generated, the availability itself, what are the databases, and what are the primary and important metrics that are in the database will be fetched as a report. Similarly, the availability and the health reports that you can generate directly. Not just limited to this, you can schedule the reports, as well as if you want to like generate a quick report, you can go to the specific monitor and directly generate the report from the server itself. I mean the server itself. You can go here and under say I want to availability report, simple as, and get the report of that server. And this is directly available at the application at the monitor level. And two other major important reports are the capacity planning. So let's consider the ESX host. So the capacity planning of these two ESX hosts are showing, like you can see the CPU utilization cores and the memory utilization. Is it undersized? No, because it says like 0% of the time the CPU utilization is greater than 90. So it has never reached 90%. So it is never undersized. And you can have an option to how you are going to like calculate whether if it's undersized like 90% or like 50%. You can customize the diagnosis settings over here. Let's take oversized. So it says 100% of the time the CPU utilization is less than 50%. So it's only utilizing half the amount of CPU allocated to it. So it's definitely oversized, where you can get the optimization. Say this capacity planning is going to help you identify issues like undersized or oversized. With the help of this, you can actually use the half the resources to allocate to any other resource that's in need of more CPU. So with the help of this, you can actually generate the report directly on the right side and send it to the resource planning team for oversized or undersized or better capacity planning. Forecast report is going to be based on a machine learning. So the forecast of disk utilizations or the utilizations of the SQL databases, the data files can be tracked here. So the forecast by growth trend. So this is 1 month trend, and I'm going to choose 6 months, and it's going to refresh and give me the data of all the servers, that is the individual disks of the servers. So let's consider this disk utilization. It says this is the average, and 1 month before or like a week before, this was the value, and this is the current value on June 11th. And what is the value in the next 6 months, that is 11th of December, and 90% full and 100% full. So it's going to keep track of, it's going to actually show me when this particular disk utilization will be 90% full, or when this will be like 100% full. And I can go back this to like 1 year or 2 year or a custom period. So based on that, it's going to give me the forecast report of the selected device. I mean the disks or the data file of the SQL servers. You can generate or like get this report as a CSV and send it to the the resource planning team for better resource allocation. And say if I'm getting a report that in the next 6 months or the next 3 months that this particular resource is going to run out, then I can take immediate measures so that we can avoid a disaster or a server crash or a application crash. Now let's move on to the dashboards. So under the home tab, the default dashboard is available as soon as you install the application, and there are few default widgets available. So you can customize the widgets and build a dashboard of your own based on the requirements. So this is, we have like multiple widget options that's going to summarize the health, availability, and the alarm summary of all the resources added. You have the infrastructure snapshot, tabular data that can, where you can customize the server level optimization, the performance metrics, the performance metric widget. You can use it to like quick view of different metric of performance, like say over here it shows the SQL monitor, recent alarms, alarm summary widgets, and so on. And you can also create a new dashboard here. Go to actions, new Sorry, just a second. Actions, new dashboard, and you just give a name for the dashboard, and you can go ahead and select the widgets that you want to include in the dashboard. Even after creating the dashboard, you can add more widgets to it, and you can give options to which user account has permission for this dashboard. And if you want to give all selected roles and users, you can enable the user accounts alone. You can customize that. And along there are like multiple widgets you can add to the dashboard, similar to like performance metric widget. We have availability, alarms related widgets, monitor groups related widgets. You can customize it based on your requirements. So, and publish the dashboard will give you an option, iframe URL, where you can take the URL to a network operations center and just give the URL, and it's going to show the complete dashboard, and it's going to be refreshed constantly to have the latest data available. And we have also recently introduced a new option here to publish specific widget alone. So it's not just a full dashboard. You can specifically publish this heat map widget alone. Say I have a critical performance metric that I want to view it constantly. I can add it to a widget and publish it. And a lot of customization options are also available. You can just like click and drag these widgets to resize and fit it according to your screens. And, let's take a quick look at this alarms page where we have the AI summary option. So this will be available when you have the integrations. Under AI ops, there is a open AI integration available. So once this is configured, you're able to get the AI summary option under the alarms tab. Go to alarms and you will get the AI summary. Once I select it, it's going to start generating the details of the alarms. So it's going to perform the analysis based on the critical alarms received. And I have selected only the critical alarms. I have not selected the 229 clear alarms. So it's going to summarize and give me the data of only those 28 critical alarms. You can see the 28 alarms analyzed for this, and you can view the details like what is the consolidated overview of recent alarms, what monitors were included in the alarms, what is the severity distribution, and what are the key takeaways, and what is the monitor group summary. There are some alarms generated at the group level, so you can get or see what groups were impacted and how severe they were impacted, and what are the high level recommendations in order to prevent these alarms. Right, so let's move on to the final topic of the day: achieve more out of Applications Manager with built-in integrations. We have direct integrations with Prometheus, ServiceNow, Slack, and few Manage Engine solutions like Alarms One, Analytics Plus, and Service Desk Plus. So what are the main advantages of built-in integrations? You get end-to-end visibility, reduced bottlenecks, performance insights, and efficient reporting. And it also helps you avoid SLA breach. And we've also supported the SIEM integration where you can forward syslogs and you can integrate it using the syslog option. So Applications Manager forwards the application alarms, audit logs, and access logs in real time. And also there is a out-of-the-box support for Splunk integration, and it also supports other integrations like Manage Engine Log 360, Microsoft Sentinel. You can also integrate with Service Desk Plus and ServiceNow for ticket generation purpose. So you can sync your CIs for faster troubleshooting, and also with the help of automated workflow, you can achieve more faster resolution of your incidents. We also have Microsoft Teams integration and it uses two methods, Graph API or Microsoft Teams connector. And this will help you to receive a real-time alarm in your Teams channel directly. Say the traditional method of like receiving emails or log a ticket. So this is more advanced where you can directly get a message in your channel that so and so alarm has been generated for this application. Also have mobile applications available in Play Store and the App Store where you can download Applications Manager. And once you get connected, you're going to get an overview of the monitor groups, subgroups, and the status of the individual monitors. And also you can receive critical alarms on the go. Let's take a quick look at these integration options. Settings, integrations. So here at the all integrations, I can view the Service Desk Plus and the OpenAI is already configured. And there are other integrations like Prometheus. And for Prometheus, there are like more option and more monitor types that you can integrate with Prometheus and get the data like OpenShift, Nginx, Kubernetes, Tomcat, ClickHouse DB, Docker Swarm. So all these metrics can be fetched with the integration of Prometheus directly. And with the help of ServiceNow, you can like log a ticket, and we've already added a Service Desk Plus, so you can have only one ticketing integration. So we saw like log a ticket option in the actions menu. So once the integration for the Service Desk Plus is done, you can create a log a ticket action and send the tickets to the Service Desk Plus or ServiceNow for faster troubleshooting. Right. So with this, we've come to the end of this training session. So a quick recap of what we've discussed today. So we initially started with how you can perform an automatic discovery in Applications Manager and how you can view the different application performance metrics in terms of like applications, servers, and databases. And we've also discussed how you can utilize the machine learning and the AI summary to get an overview of uh, your alarms. And also we discussed the dashboard options, publishing your dashboards and reporting. So reporting is one of the key feature where you can go back in time and see what exactly happened, and the capacity planning and the forecast reporting could be a major change, I mean game changer. And finally, we've concluded the session with the integrations available in Applications Manager. I thank everyone for attending the session today. I hope it was informative and useful to you. And you can go to the demo.appmanager.com as we discussed to get a full view of how the application manager looked like. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to drop an email to us at the email address and we'll have them addressed for you. So I once again thank everyone for your time. See you all in the next session.